recommend that, getting a supplemental flood insurance?
We never not recommend it. Sometimes people, we really try to offer that quote to everyone.
Yeah.
Now, whether you take it, I mean, it's our job to educate. We can't really tell people how to spend their money, absolutely, but we do like to advise folks on the risk.
Welcome back to another episode of Rendezvous with Alysia. Today's beautiful guest, which we came in the studio twinning, right?
I know, right?
And red. I couldn't believe it. I said, oh my God, April, we're twinning. Well, today's guest is April Jordan, the managing partner of Carolina Property Insurance. Your office, right, is located in the Myrtle Beach area. Where's your office located?
We have two locations. We have one in Myrtle's Inlet, and then we have one inside the Innovate office in Myrtle Beach on Professional Drive.
Very nice. So that's how I met April. My brokerage is Innovate Real Estate. We're located in a couple different states by now. We're really expanding across the country. I work out of the Myrtle Beach office, and I'm never there. I'm always out. I feel like I moved to South Carolina, and I became like a buyer's agent more than I was a list agent in New York. And so I'm always out in the field, and I have a hard time getting to the office as much as I would like to, but we have such great people there. So I have to make it a point to get there more often. Yeah. But I wanted to bring April Jordan on the show because I get a lot of calls. I'm a buyer's agent. So when I'm a listing agent too, but on the buyer's end of this all real estate scheme as a realtor, we get a lot of people that call me and ask me, what homeowners insurance do you use? Is what's going on in Florida going to affect the South Carolina market? Are my prices going to go up in a year, in 2 years? Can I be dropped? What is wind and hail? Do I need flood insurance? What is an X zone? What is an AE zone? And I'm like, I'm not an expert in this, and I'm sure none of you are either. So having April Jordan, managing partner of Carolina Property Insurance, come on the show. I wanted her to answer all of your questions. So let's start with number one. April. Okay. How did you become the managing partner of Carolina Property Insurance?
Very interesting. I've been in the insurance business since 1999.
Wow. Okay.
So it's been a while. I am a lifer, and I love this industry. This is where my heart is. And so I had started working with captive agency when I first kind of cut my teeth into the insurance industry, and then over the years moved over into the independent side. We're an independent agency, which means that we offer lots of products through lots of different carriers. And Darren's wife knew me because we were from the same hometown. Darren Woodard is one of my business partners, and he reached out to me because he had opened an insurance company and thought it was going to be a little bit different landscape than what it ended up being, and so he needed someone to come in and kind of run with it and take it to the next level.
I love it. I didn't know this backstory about April. You know, when I do go to the office, or I do go to the trainings or the meetings and stuff, I do see you, but I didn't know that whole backstory. I love it. Yeah. All right, let's do the biggest question, April. We're just going to get right into it.
Let's go.
Okay. We have seen all over the news the Florida homeowners insurance. I call them halfbacks. I own the Heroes Agents, where I help list veterans and first responders, their homes up in New York, and I retire them down to Florida and South Carolina. Or before I even got my license 10, 12, 15 years ago, they have moved to Florida. They're now calling me to move them halfway back. We call them halfbacks.
Oh, halfway. I love that.
Yeah. And because they say, oh my God, the homeowners insurance, the flood insurance, I'm getting pummeled. When people call me to move to South Carolina, to the Myrtle Beach coastal area, they ask me, is that going to happen in Myrtle? I don't know how to respond. How would you respond if somebody asks you that?
Well, I will say that South Carolina has had a difficult 4 years. The market has hardened a lot, and it's just been a transition time. There's been a lot of losses. And yes, what happens in South Carolina or what happens in Florida doesn't always stay there. And what I mean by that is it's an overall risk. So carriers that insure in multiple states, they have to make sure that they are financially capable to pay all the claims. And then they also have to buy insurance to insure what they insure. And that's called reinsurance. Gotcha. And when reinsurance costs go up for the carriers, then those costs are also carried on, and our clients have to take the risk as well. So I can't say that Florida is going to come to South Carolina as far as that market, but the good news is right now that market is softening. New carriers are coming into the state of South Carolina. We had 4 or 5 come into the state in Q4 that were not here before, and their rates are very promising. And so right now, it's a great time for insurance. It seems like we're coming off of the hard market, which we're glad.
Yeah. Well, last year I sold 54 homes, mostly new construction. And I've had a handful of buyers call me from South Carolina to say, hey, the insurance that I picked to purchase the home just went up. They're in their 1 year of their home and the insurance has gone up. Is there a reason, whether it was $1,000 or $2,000 for the year, is there a reason, like did these first time home buyers of new construction, was it the way they negotiated their, because some people just pick I find some buyers just pick anything just to get into the purchase. They know it's just going to be escrowed and they don't really review the contract. Do you think something like that could be the effect of why somebody's homeowner's insurance within 1 year would go up $1,000? Or
Well, I do think that a lot of times when you're trying to get to the closing table, it's like a means to an end. So you just pick that coverage that's in front of you. And a lot of times with new construction, the new construction companies partner with their own carriers, and that's great. And sometimes that works out, but sometimes at the renewal, there's just rate increases just because there are rate increases, and there's necessarily not one reason for that.
Okay.
The good news is if that happens and you decide for one reason or another that you want to go with that carrier that they offer in those new construction communities, that's great. But if you do have that rate increase, you can always call and get another quote.
Right, that's true.
That's right.
That was one of my questions to you. So I hear a lot of people, every year, check out your insurance plan, read it, ask them to redo it, get another quote every single year. Keep your escrow payments down, or if you're not in escrow, keep your payments down. Do you advise that people check their homeowner's insurance every single year to see if they can change it or update it?
I would say review your coverage every year. Longevity goes a long way with carriers, and that also helps improve your insurance score over time. We haven't been in a position in the last 4 years to be able to really tell clients to stay because the rates have just been increasing so much every year. So one of the good things now is that we are seeing these rates be a little bit more stabilized. And so you can take time to really review your coverage, and we're not chasing rate. I think a lot of times folks were just, when your homeowner's insurance increases 50%, it's a lot. And it's not in a cost that you're counting on, because you don't plan on that. So it really makes a big difference in your escrow payments.
It does. It can be hundreds of dollars in your escrow payments.
Correct. Yeah. And so if you're coming down to retire and you're not counting on spending that extra money, it really can cause, unexpected costs, which is not fun.
Yeah. Now, one of the questions we get is, keep me out of a flood zone. I want an X zone. Now, I don't even know if the people who are requesting this to me actually know what X, AE, the 100-year flood zones are. How do those FEMA-rated flood zones in coastal Carolina affect homeowners insurance?
That's a great question. It doesn't necessarily affect the homeowner's coverage because most of the time, and I would say in 99% of the time, we do have a few carriers that offer flood insurance. And that's really mostly in condos, like an HO6, a homeowners for a condo owner. But it does affect whether or not if you have a mortgage that you have to carry flood insurance, that it's mandatory, or if you can just purchase that on your own. And there are different risks. I say in South Carolina, we're all at risk. It's just the level of risk.
Yeah, I've had some buyers purchase flood insurance, and they're in an an X zone, nowhere
Correct.
near any underlying water, no swamps, no streams, no oceans, but they just felt better, and they've got like $500 a year as a supplemental flood insurance. Do you recommend that, getting a supplemental flood insurance?
We never not recommend it. Sometimes people, we really try to offer that quote to everyone.
Yeah.
Now, whether you take it, I mean, it's our job to educate. We can't really tell people how to spend their money, absolutely, but we do like to advise folks on the risk and the coverage that can solve that problem. But I would never tell someone not to buy flood insurance. In, was it 2018 when we had Florence?
Yeah.
Hurricane Florence. Hurricane Florence was probably the standalone biggest flood event that we've had in South Carolina. That was not, it was just really destructive as far as the losses and the destruction that it caused. So after that, it changed kind of the playing field for flood insurance and how people thought about flood insurance, because things, areas that never flooded before had flooded during that storm event.
Yeah. I remember when I bought my first home in New York, I was off the canal which led to the Great South Bay. And within 3 years of owning it, I got a letter saying, you're now in the flood zone. You need to take out, or you should be taking out, flood insurance. I couldn't afford it, so I never did. Well, Hurricane Sandy hit. Another 3 years later or 4 years later, and that was it. My basement had probably a foot of water up and down 6 weeks. We'd pump it out. If it rained, the water tables under the house were so filled at this point. And I was saying, I never flooded before. But I had to have known. I was living kind of near the canal that went to the Great South Bay. There's underground water. Can't stop Mother Nature, right?
Right. And there are resources where you can find out if someone's looking for a home, and looking at a specific property, you can find out whether that specific property is located in a flood zone prior to purchase.
No, so there's another lead-in question that I would like to ask that I've gotten asked before. If we are looking, there's certain areas that do flood. There are certain, areas that we all know are basic flood zones. If I have a buyer that's coming in, I'm going to disclose that to them. Now, my question is, are we able to say, hey, April, I really want to buy this house. Has this particular house ever flooded before, and filed a claim? Is that public record, or do insurance agents know? Like, okay, 123 Main Street, yes, it's flooded twice already, has pulled 2 insurance claims. Like, is that something that you would be able to tell our buyers?
Unfortunately, not all the time. Yeah.
Okay.
And so I wish that we could have that information and the dates, but that's just not something that we have access to.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Now, as far as wind and hail, we moved down here from New York, and everybody, wind and hail. I said, what the heck? Wind and hail? What is that? You got to have wind and hail. Is that a part of every single coverage, or is that supplemental? People say wind and hail. What does that mean?
That's a great question. It could be supplemental. So most carriers, and what we try to do is provide coverage that includes wind and hail, or named storm, or hurricane. Those are all types of deductibles that you can have to cover that risk. We try to place you with a carrier that offers that, because if you have to go to a situation where you're buying a supplemental wind and hail policy, sometimes the coverage is not quite as comprehensive as it would be if you can include that with your homeowners. And what's different that you'll find moving from the north to the south, and necessarily, before, I don't know now, because I think that now more carriers are going to that wind and hail deductible, even all over the United States. We're seeing that where it's more and more, but you have a separate deductible. The coverage is there. You have a deductible called all other peril, which covers all the other perils covered under the policy. And then you have either a wind and hail, named storm, or a hurricane. They're all the same, but the coverage is a little bit different as far as what you would have to pay that deductible at what time.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, HO6, you mentioned that. What is HO6?
HO6 is a homeowners for condo owners.
Okay.
So it's for covering like the inside of a condo. You've got the master policy that covers the common areas in condominium buildings. And then you have the HO6 that provides coverage for your personal property, the updates and alterations and additions on the inside, and then gives you some liability like it does with the homeowners.
Okay. Now, I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about bundling. I see the commercials all over TV. Now, first, I want to apologize. I brought my phone with me because I have 1,000 questions to ask you. And I forget Monday mornings, this thing blows up. So if you keep hearing, it's my phone buzzing. And of course, 53 years old, you need your reading glasses to read the phone text. But bundling. What do you cover outside of a home? And can you is everything able to be bundled? What is it and how does that work?
That's a good question. So we have bundling opportunities. And what that means is if you have multiple lines or multiple policies with a carrier, you're able to provide discounts. Now, as independent agents, we may not offer the same carrier for your homeowners as your auto. And so what these carriers do for us to give us a competitive advantage and also to allow our clients to participate and have those discounts, they allow us to bundle. So you have like an agency companion discount. So if you have an auto policy with us and a homeowner's policy with us, we're able to provide those discounts sometimes. Some carriers provide them, some carriers don't. But when we have an opportunity to do that, we look for that for people so that we can provide more value.
Okay. Now, do you cover boats, RVs, golf carts? Like, how does that work? How do you take out insurance on like a golf cart? Like, what does that entail?
It's basically the same as what you do for an auto policy. You call us. We need driver's license, date of birth, some personal information, information about the golf cart. We give you a quote and we bind the coverage. So it's pretty easy. But we are a full service personal lines agency, and we also have a small commercial division that we're starting to build out.
Very nice. Now, April, I have many more questions to ask you, but your contact information, your website, your email, how do people get in touch with you? Let's do it right in the middle of the show. Okay.
So one way that you can reach us is through our website, www.carolinapropertyinsurance.com. We have a way that you can go online and request a quote. That quote comes to us, and then we respond within 24 hours. You're certainly welcome to call our office. Our main line is 843-839-8361, and that will transfer you to one of our new business agents. We have new business agents that are dedicated to writing new policies every day, and that's all they do all day long, and they love to talk to anyone. And then we also have, we have QR codes. We try to just make it easy for everyone who wants a quote. We would love to help anyone.
Excellent. I love this. I love it. So again, we're with April Jordan, the managing partner of Carolina Property Insurance. Now, when I bought my RV, and then I used the same insurance that I had with my cars. So when I came here, I'm being very honest, I just kept the same insurance company that I had from New York that I've had for 20 years. And I thought coming here, it would be, I guess I'd get better rates. No, I'm really not. I feel like I'm really not getting a better rate because I've been with an agency for 20 years. I'm getting the fair market value. I'm not getting anything better for being a valued customer. Now, before when you were talking, you said something about your insurance portfolio. What did you say?
Longevity.
Longevity. Is that what you were talking about, or?
Yes. So a lot of times carriers will take into account a number of things when they build rate. You would be surprised at how many indicators are in the background when we are going through a rating system. We put in all the information, but each carrier has their own niche, their own, desired customer. And so they build these rates based on all these characteristics. And so longevity could be one of the ones that a particular client, if they're looking for clients who like to stay with, carriers, then they may, give you a better base rate just based on that. We don't really know how all that works. They don't want agents to know that. But each carrier builds their own rates based on the things that they decide is their niche. If that makes sense.
That does make sense. That really does make sense. Now, a big question that I get is, will my credit affect my car insurance? Will my personal credit affect my homeowner's insurance? What's the answer to that?
Yes and no.
Okay.
We don't pull credit. I'm not, a mortgage lender. I never see anyone's credit score. But when we put your personal information in, claims history, credit for some carriers is a big thing. If that's a niche and that's one of the indicators that they use to build rate, then credit could affect your overall rate. But we do have carriers that they don't care. So it's good because that way, if we have someone who's had some challenges and their credit's not quite so good, we know where to pivot and we know where we can look for to find that rate so that their credit is not involved.
Okay. All right. Well, hold on. I have to put my glasses on because I did have a really important question that I wanted to ask you. And of course, with this brain over here, I can't remember much. Okay. What advice do you have for first-time home buyers about insurance, especially in the coastal area where flood and hurricane risk is high? Give us some advice because I deal with a lot of retirees, but it's their first-time home buying down in South Carolina. What advice, what should they be looking at when they're, I guess, interviewing insurance people? Or what should they be doing?
One of the first things that comes to mind is slow down. I understand that the closing process, it's like, I guess, hurry up and wait. Is that a good way to say that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have all of these things that you're trying to do and you're trying to accomplish and you're trying to get this piece of information to your mortgage company and then you're, in the middle of negotiating contracts. I would just tell folks moving to South Carolina, find an agent that you can talk to, find an agent that will answer your questions and, you probably want to get more than one quote. I think that there's power and you can make better decisions when you find someone who can educate you and give you more knowledge because I think you make better decisions for yourself.
Yeah, I think so. Now, are there any local, you had said that we had 4 years and that you had said, is the market, it hardened? Is that what you said? What does that mean? What do you mean by saying that?
So, in the last 4 years, what had happened in South Carolina and in other areas, there were a few carriers who had to pull out of the state. And when I say pull out of the state, they stopped doing business in South Carolina. So what happened was we had all of the carriers that were doing business in South Carolina, those carriers were decreased. And so all of those policy owners and clients had to go somewhere else. So when carriers are planning their year and trying to figure out their reinsurance cost, all of a sudden they had this big movement in the industry. And so they weren't expecting that influx of business. So it caused everybody to stress out. That market was hardened because it put a lot of pressure on the market. So as they had to file rate increases to make sure that they were financially stable enough to pay these claims in case something happened or another Hurricane Hugo came to the area, the market hardened. They had to, we had less options. Prices were higher. So just not a lot of opportunity to pivot and change for our clients, just not a lot of options there. So now, after they've had a minute to catch their breath, things are a little bit better. Carriers have had an opportunity to reassess. New carriers are coming into the market. The market has softened. We've got more options. Rates are calming down. So everybody's just kind of like taking a breath now.
Oh, okay. I like it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to have you on because I get so many questions. And I think when people start asking me questions, I'm just going to forward them this this segment. Well, you have answered so many questions that my buyers have asked me, and I did not have the answer to. You have also answered my own personal questions that I've had. Another question, a personal question that I have for April Jordan, the managing partner of Carolina Property Insurance, is, what do you do when you're not working? What are your passions, your hobbies? What do you enjoy in life?
I love to work because I love my job, but there are other things that I like to do. I have my family. I have a son who is 16 years old.
Oh.
And Bobby is my husband. We live in Murrells Inlet, and we love all the things that there are to do around here. One of the things that I like to do in my spare time is I love to garden. I love to get out in the yard. I love to walk around the local gardens here. I just love being outside because a lot of times the time that I do spend at work is behind the desk. So I love to get outside and enjoy all the things that our area has to offer. That's for sure.
Now, are you from South Carolina originally?
Can you tell?
I don't know, because I walk in, I'm like, can I have that cup of coffee? And they're like, oh, you're from New York. I'm like, I am, but with the southern accents, I don't know, Tennessee, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, they all similar to me. Like,
of course.
I'm learning.
I joke with clients when they ask me if I'm originally from here, and I'm like, no, I'm from New York. And they're like, no, you got to be kidding me. But I am from Georgetown County. I grew up in a little community called Pleasant Hill. It's outside of Hemingway.
Okay.
But we were just in the northwestern tip of Georgetown County, so I guess I kind of am a native. I've been here for a long time, and so now I live in Horry County. When I married Bobby, we moved to Horry County. So I'm an Horry County girl now.
When I first moved here, I went to the department, I guess, the motor vehicles to pay my taxes. I called it Horry County. Yeah. I pronounced the H. Yes. And the lady, she wasn't having it. She looked at me, it's Horry County. And I was like, I'll never make that mistake again. I felt so horrible. So now when people come in, they say the H. I do the same thing. It's Horry County. Because I didn't know that there's a big H there. Do you pronounce it or not? You don't. It's Horry County. So April, again, give us all of your contact information, your phone number, your email, your website, and how can people get in touch with you?
Sure, absolutely. So Carolina Property Insurance. We're on Facebook. We're on LinkedIn. Our website is www.carolinapropertyinsurance.com. You can call us at the office, 843-839-8361. And our email, or my email, is april@carolinapropertyinsurance.com. And we would just love to be able to help you in any way that we can.
Yeah. Now, I asked you questions, but I'm not the expert in the field. Do you have any input that you want to give the audience or any advice that you want to give the audience outside of the questions that we already talked about?
Well, I will say this. I know that your heart is near and dear to veterans.
Yeah.
And I would give, and I love the platform. I think that it's great how you turn the needs that they have and turn it into a fun experience. I love the party showers.
Yeah, you like the party showers. Thank you. Yeah.
I think that's great. But I do want to point out that some of our carriers do offer special discounts for veterans.
Okay.
So have your veterans tell agents that they're talking to that they are veterans, and let us see if there's anything that we can do extra to give them more value in their policy. So I did want to mention that.
Did you guys hear that? So if you are a veteran and you are calling for insurance quotes, if you're calling April, the managing partner at Carolina Property Insurance, you need to speak up and express that you are a veteran. My studio is veteran owned. My camera crew they're retired veterans. So we need to tell everybody that. That is so good to know.
Yes.
I love that.
And we have one of our new business producers, Allison. Allison's husband served, and he's a veteran too. So we try to, do the things that in the community to support veterans causes as well. It's really important to us.
I love it. And how many people do you have at the office? Do you have like a big crew working there or small?
Well, I mean, we're relatively small.
Yeah.
It's 9 with me.
Oh,
and we
okay,
have 2
perfect.
people in Myrtle Beach, and then the rest of us are in Murrells Inlet.
Oh, sweet. Okay. See, I like small. Even when I got my real estate license 8 years ago, I wanted a boutique company. And it's so funny how I ended up at Innovate, a boutique broker. Well, they're kind of hybrid. They're a little bit mix of EXP, Keller Williams, and boutique. They're
Right.
like a hybrid like I've never seen before.
All the good things, right?
All the good things, yeah. But it's funny. I'm more drawn to the smaller companies. And I'm so happy that you got to come and rendezvous with Alysia today.
Oh, I know. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome, April. So if you have any other questions that you want to ask April, again, April, one last time, your contact information. I like to do it throughout the entire show because some people, if they get a phone call, they walk away from the TV and then they come back. I'd like to put it at the end as well.
Yes.
So
our website is www.carolinapropertyinsurance.com. We have ways that you can request quotes on our website.
Okay.
And then our number at the office is 843-839-8361.
Okay. Now, did your husband call Chris this morning and say, she's wearing a red shirt with black pants and black shoes?
You would think, but no. I knew it was going to be a good day when we realized that.
Okay. What do you think of my short hair?
I like it.
April's only seen me in my wigs. When I go, I teach the social media for realtors, the social media for beginners classes. I'm always in my wigs or my little dresses. So here I am. I'm starting to embrace the shorter hair, but I feel naked without the wig. I really do. Yeah.
I think you look great. And we're both hot roller girls, right?
Yeah, I love the hot rollers. I did the hot rollers for so long. Do you want to laugh? I couldn't find them for weeks. Finally, I ran into Walmart. I forget which one I was on. The one off 501, that new one.
Yeah.
As you're heading west on 501 on the left-hand side, they opened that new one kind of by Ridgefield over there. Mm-hmm. And they had one box, a tiny little travel box. I said, I'll take them,
I know.
So I got them, and I said, oh. When I had the long hair, I did the hot rollers. But for here, I'm like, all right, we'll see how it goes.
I think you look great.
Thanks, April. Well, guys, if you have any insurance questions, please reach out to April Jordan. And especially if you're moving to the South Carolina area, Coastal Carolina, Conway, Loris, Longs, Murrells Inlet, Pawleys Island, Georgetown, you have 2 local offices, somebody that you can actually walk in, sit with, and get the facts. And that is so important. And don't forget, if you're a veteran, you need to tell them that you're a veteran because they do offer veteran discounts.
And we write coverage in North Carolina, too.
Oh,
I
you
didn't
do?
mention that, so I just wanted to mention that as well.
Oh, perfect. So South or North Carolina, give April a call for homeowners insurance, bundled, car insurance, RV insurance, boat insurance, golf cart insurance, everything.
Everything.
See you guys next week when you come back to Rendezvous with Alysia. Calling all first responders, healthcare professionals, and military personnel. Are you ready to take the next steps in your home buying or selling journey? My name is Alysia Stern. I'm a licensed realtor in New York, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Florida, and the founder of the Heroes Agents. You have made tremendous sacrifices for all of us, and it is our honor to assist you in your real estate journey. To express our gratitude, we offer hero rebates and customized services tailored to fit your unique needs. Our commitment is to help you find your perfect home or enhance the value of your current property. We are also dedicated to supporting you in securing financial resources and smoothly navigating the mortgage process, guiding you every step of the way. To date, we have proudly given back over $50,000 to heroes like you as a way to say thank you. The Heroes Agents are here to serve you and make the process as easy and stress-free as possible while giving back with no strings attached. Reach out to us today at 833-TOP-HERO. That's 833-TOP-HERO. Or visit theheroesagents.com.